So as you know, the Trump people have been looking to take over and take control over many of the nation's premier institutions. Today we're talking about education. This is an important story. Harvard has decided to officially oppose the Trump people, and I want to go through some of the details of this, and let's just jump right in. So it says, Harvard says it will not comply with Trump's administration's demands. And basically, the Trump people want to take over and have more control over hiring, what people teach. And the Trump people also want to install some sort of, they're calling it a third party, like official person to oversee the doings at universities. Again, the Harvard is opposing this and calling Trump's actions illegal. Let's look at some more details. This comes from the New York Times. It says a letter the Trump administration sent to Harvard on Friday, so this was just recently, demanded the university reduce the power of students and faculty members over the university affairs. So they're taking away power. Report foreign, they want, the Trump people want report foreign students who commit conduct violations immediately to federal authorities. So basically what it is, it's all about the Gaza protests and stuff like that. They want you to report, if you know when you went to a protest or something like that, then you need to report them to the government. And then what the government's doing then after that is canceling people's student visas for these just going to protest basically, and then sending them off to wherever. And this is when that El Salvador story becomes really important. It's really a scary time, to be perfectly frank. Also says here, the Trump people says they want to bring in an outside party to ensure that each academic department is, quote, viewpoint diverse, okay? The administration did not define what it meant by viewpoint diversity, but it is generally referred to as seeking a range of political views, including conservative perspectives. And this is coming from basically the Fox News camp, where they say, it's only liberal people on universities and stuff like that, and we need to, get more of our stuff in there, and be it misinformation or promoting violence or whatever. And it's really, really a problem. And this is sort of why Harvard's, stepping up and fighting back. The Trump people are threatening to cut funding to universities, right? But this has been something that they've been doing a lot, attacking education, attacking our research. These things should be the strengths and the hallmarks of the USA, right? To push the country forward, education. But the Trump people are essentially attacking it, and they want to install their own people there, as you can see. This is a quote from the Harvard president. They say, no government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. Right. And this actually becomes a really important thing. And the fight is how they're phrasing this is that the Trump people will say all these universities are anti-Semitic. That's the fight that the Trump people will try to propose. Basically, they say, well, if you protest what's happening in Gaza, then you must hate certain group of people, right? Which I personally reject. I think there's several of us out there that just want ceasefire. We don't want killing of any side. And I think it's a very reasonable approach, right? But the way that they frame this, so I just want to make it clear, the Trump people say, well, if you oppose what's happening in Gaza, then therefore you just must hate a certain group of people. And it's not literally not what I'm saying at all, or what other people are saying. Again, it's just calling for a ceasefire and no killing of anyone. And part of what's happening then at universities, and I've been seeing the story for a while now, is there's been calls to completely eliminate area studies. If you don't know area studies, and part of the stuff that I studied would be like, hey, let's not teach anything about people from Africa, or let's not teach anything about people from Palestine, right? Let's not teach anything from people of basically non-Western, origins. That's basically what they're targeting. And from that point of view, the Trump people, and you'll see it in their actions, they want to rewrite history. So simple example, just so you understand that, like, it's more than just the Gaza situation. It has a much larger implications. Just for example, the Trump people would really hate it if you changed Columbus Day and called it something else, because they want to remember history of like, oh well, when the Europeans come and the white man came to the Americas, it was all for white people, right? And there were no Native Americans there, right? That's how they want you to. They basically want to erase people from history. And I just really hope you understand the significance and the importance of this. The way that the Trump people like to write history is like, oh, well, America has always been, God-given land and stuff like that, and just don't think about slavery, don't think about Native Americans, right? Forget about the people in Palestine. Like this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And then they frame it as like, oh, if you want to tell other types of stories, then you must hate a certain group of people, right? So that's what it says here. I'll read it so you understand the context of this. I want to understand it's a fuller perspective of what we're talking about. Since taking office in January, the Trump administration has aggressively targeted universities, saying it is investigating dozens of schools as it moves to eradicate diversity efforts. And what it says is rampant anti-Semitism on campus. Officials have suspended hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds for research at universities across the country. And the Republicans, Trump people, they're all against diversity. They're against equity. They're against inclusion, right? So if you don't look the way that the Trump people want you to look, then you must be unqualified, right? You must not deserve to be at university. You must not be deserving to teach your history or your books, etc. I'll give you an example. So I was at the Naval Academy. I saw an article recently where they're removing books from Maya Angelou. Like I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. If you're familiar with literature, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Famous Black American author. And according to the article, and I'm not at the Naval Academy, or I think it was a Coast Guard Academy. It was either Coast Guard or Naval. I just, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but they were saying that they were, we'll just say this, friendly books to right-leaning mustache type of people. I'll leave it at that. It is obvious what's happening, and it's very disturbing. And I want to make it also really clear. I was a professor for 10 years. I went to Brown, I went to Penn, right? Very good schools. And when you go to university, it's an international place. It's a place where you go and you want to learn all kinds of viewpoints, right? So I'm fine with any number of things. And I think it's important. And at the moment, what we're having though is just like one group of people wants to eliminate the histories, literatures, cultures of another group of people, and it's really a problem. It's really a problem. And when you see how the White House operates, you see where it's going. I mean, I don't know what to say. The Trump people, they sent out this letter. It was on April 11th, right? Targeting Harvard, etc. Harvard has hence responded. Harvard professors are now suing Trump, right, over academic freedom. But this is not just Harvard. It is a much larger scope. I guess the Trump people are targeting 60 universities, claiming that you're all against a certain group of people, right? And these are the universities that are on the list. I'll list those up here so you guys can see. So your university might be on here. There's really quite a lot. And what's even more disturbing is how quickly they're throwing people in jail and stuff like that. So, for example, this just came out today, and there's many of stories like this I keep seeing. It says Columbia activist arrested by ICE at his appointment for citizenship. Okay, so this is a Columbia University student, and it says here Mohsen Madawi, a legal permanent resident, has lived in the United States for 10 years and was arrested in Vermont. He has not been charged with a crime. Right, they're just skipping over due process. I'm picking this story because it just literally came out today. And this is the kind of stuff that they're pulling. And so they want, the Trump people want people at university to report something like this, right? Where are they? Where are they? We saw pictures of them on social media. That's like if they have, government officials looking at social media and what students are doing. It says Mohsen Madawi, an organizer of pro-Palestinian demonstrations last year at Columbia University, was detained by immigration officials on Monday after arriving for an appointment in Vermont that he thought was a step toward becoming a U.S. citizen, his lawyer said. So this was a permanent resident, been in USA for 10 years, was applying for citizenship and gets arrested. And if you don't know, I was born in Vietnam, and I became a citizen later in my life because the system is slow and it's how that works. And I did not choose to go to the USA. It's a long story. You can read my book about this. But it was after the Vietnam War. And like I said, it's a really complicated story. And, you know, it's upsetting. I'll just say that. Hours later, Mr. Madawi's mother, older sister, and lawyers are scrambling to find him after his abrupt detention at the immigration center in Colchester, Vermont. His lawyers requested a temporary restraining order to prevent federal officials from transferring him to a more conservative jurisdiction, right? So they arrest people, and this is someone, you know, applying for citizenship, and they probably try to send them to Louisiana or something like that, because they did that before with the one student from Turkey. And you don't know what you're charged with, right? It says here, a tactic used to deport at least 4 other college demonstrators. And for some of these people, when they do deport, I remember I read a story, there was a Korean American, or I didn't say American, I would say Korean permanent residents, better way to say it, living in the USA. And the person was like a college student, like a sophomore or something like that, and had been in USA since like age 8, like in this person situation, you're been there for 10 years. And they're talking about deporting to Korea, but the guy's been in USA for so long, probably doesn't have any family members even in Korea. Also says here, a Vermont federal judge, William K. Sessions, swiftly granted that request, ordering that Mr. Madawi, an outspoken critic of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, so reading the whole thing, not be removed from the United States or transferred out of Vermont until he orders otherwise. His lawyer said that as of Monday afternoon, they had confirmed that he was still in Vermont. This is their MO, it's coming from the lawyer. They just continue to hide the individual to the point where their attorneys can't quite understand or identify where to file. And so we're operating blind, and they all have the information, and we're tasked with attempting to file in the right jurisdiction. So that's what's going on. I want you to understand, though, that not everyone is going along with this. Many of Trump's lawyers have resigned that are going to, represent Trump and their team in the Supreme Court. These days, this one just came out just a couple days ago from Washington Post. So the Trump people are just going to hire all these incompetent lawyers and loyalists, right, to Trump. But I said that the people who know what's going on and can see it, and I'm telling you guys this as well, don't follow any illegal orders by Trump or Musk. You do not want to be tied to these people. You do not want to be one of those people that say, I was just following orders. This is not a good time to be associated with any of these Trump people, and there's gonna be more and more people that are gonna be opposing this stuff. I also want to point this out. I mentioned it several times on the channel. This is a Korean movie, and I know some people don't watch foreign movies, but I'm telling you guys, you want to learn from history and you want to learn from other countries. It's called 12 Till the Day. It's about a military coup, and when you see it, you'll see kind of how Trump people operate. It's a really important movie. These are historically accurate as well. And then the follow-up movie, which is the one that will probably be the route that the USA will go. This is called 1987, When the Day Comes. But I'll give you the basic premise. In the first couple of minutes of the movie, a student is killed, and the government tries to do a cover-up. And that spurred on essentially a revolution. It's a good movie. And unfortunately, I think that's probably the path that we're going down. And there's going to be a lot of illegal activities that the Trump people are doing. Someone's going to get hurt, and hopefully people will wake up. But I don't want it to go to that far, to where like someone has to get hurt. I mean, already we have the one guy that was deported to El Salvador, and the El Salvador president was like, I don't know where he is. I can't bring him back, right? That kind of stuff. But this is when you need to call out the Trump people's BS, because we don't have to follow them, and we don't have to follow them down the illegal paths. And I'm, for me, I'm happy that Harvard is opposing the Trump people. I think it's important that, not just Harvard, but universities band together. And it's not just universities, it's federal employees in several agencies where Trump is they're just destroying our country. There's no other way to put it. And what's sad is there's, some people who are apathetic, they don't care, they don't notice, or, Musk and Trump are really successful in getting you to just blame Biden for everything. Like that's what they try to do all the time, or gaslight you, these kind of things, and control the narrative and get you thinking about other stuff. But right now what we're seeing though is just the Trump people are after taking people's rights away, which is absolutely horrible and insane. So I just hope you guys understand the gravity and seriousness of this stuff, but also know that you're not alone and you're not crazy, because we can all see it. I mean, you know, they 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 have to, you know, it's hard for me to talk about this stuff, to be honest, because it's so frustrating and it's so obvious how bad these Trump MS people are. I have not seen something like this in my lifetime. This is way worse than Trump's first time around. So anyway, I do appreciate your time, everyone, and I catch you on the next video.